We're going to go through 3 different methods today. This is one of them, and we'll make 2 videos on the other styles. This one's called factoring quadratics with specifically factors. Okay? Now, right now we are in the standard form of a quadratic. You guys were used to seeing vertex form, which still had an A, but it also had an H and a K involved. This is different. This is a different style. This is a different form of a quadratic. Okay? So when we're factoring, what we're doing is we're going from standard form to what's called factored form. The first step to factoring is to always look for common factors first. So I quickly look at this question here. There is no common factor of 1, 7, and 30 except other than 1, and 1 won't change anything. So we don't need to take 1 out. Okay? Now, this style here, what we're going to do is we're going to be taking the factors of our A and our C. This method will work even when A is not a value of 1. Okay? So today, and for your quiz tomorrow, we'll be focusing on when A is 1. But once we go on to Thursday, we'll have questions that are a little more complex. So, for A, what are the factors of 1? What numbers multiply by themselves to get 1? 1x and 1x. Then we're going to take the factors of negative 30. So let's just think of the actual unit value of 30. What are factors of 30? We have 1 and 30.
2 and 15.
2 and 15. 3, 10.
5, 6.
There you go, 5, 6. Great. These are all of the factors of 30. Now what we're going to do is we're going to separate them with columns to help us keep them organized, okay? Done this in Tanani, sir? Yeah. Okay. So, that's 2 parts of this. What we're eventually going to be doing is multiplying 2 pairs of columns by each other, and their products are going to be added up to what our middle term is, our B term, which is negative 7x. So, just to give you an idea of what we're aiming to do, is we're going to have 2 brackets in the end. Okay. And now this is the only column with our A values. So those are going to be the only values. They are going to be our first terms. But we don't know what our second terms in each bracket are going to be. There's going to be 2 terms in each set of the brackets. And if you guys remember, we talked about distributive property or FOIL. This is kind of the opposite. When we have 2 terms in brackets, we FOIL them, or rainbow method, and we end up with a trinomial like this. We're doing the opposite, factoring here. So, by trial and error, we're going to test these values out. 1x times 1 is 1x. 1x times 30 is 30x. Do they add up to negative 7? No. So I go diagonally. No. Is that going to make any difference?
No.
Okay, so because A is 1, it does not make a difference. If A had been another value, that would make a difference, and we would have to test straight across and diagonal. Because it doesn't make a difference, we're just going to go straight through. So we know the very first one does not work, 1 and 30. We'll try the next value, 2 and 15. 2x and 15x, do they work?
No.
No. No combination of those values work. We can get rid of that one. Let's try 3 and 10. 3x and 10x, do they work? Okay, but what has to happen to these values?
Negative 10.
Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to test this out. If this is negative 10, 1x times negative 10 is negative 10x, and 1 times 3 is positive 3, do they add up to negative 7? Does negative 10 times positive 3 equal negative 30? Okay, that is our check. We have to make sure we check. So when we incorporate a negative, we still have to make sure that they multiply to whatever our C value is. So because it did work, we're multiplying this. This 10 needs to be a negative value. We're going to get 3x and negative 10x. That means that these 2 are going to be our second pairs. So our first column, we're going to have 1x and 1x. We're going to put them in either bracket. It doesn't make a difference. Now, because I multiplied 1x times 3, the 1x and the positive 3 have to go in opposite brackets. Okay. And this 1x times negative 10, the 1x and the negative 10 have to go in opposite brackets. Now, what you guys will notice is, whether I did it the other way or not, it would have been the same. But that practice of putting them in opposite brackets is very important when the A value is not 1. Okay? So our final answer here is x minus 10 x plus 3.